Nam rồi, nam anh em dành tài khoản. Qua anh em cha mấy anh em cha nam người em cha dành tài khoản không anh đầu nên chết chết thích qua thằng luôn. Anh đặt đi kia chết chặt lại để biết luôn. Không biết hả? Đấy.
Match the best. Conquering EDG and RNG in the second split would boost them to a more impressive record and seeding. It's now on them to hush the crowd and chase the crown. To match the best. Conquering EDG and RNG in the second split the best. Conquering EDG and RNG in the second split.
I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground.
Match the best. Conquering EDG and RNG in the second split.
I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground. My feet won't touch the ground. I've never been this way. I felt so hard, and now yet my feet won't touch the ground. I can't walk away. I've never been this far.
Rồi để đưa bọn lên câu.
Well, we're in Beijing for our semi-finals between RNG and Top Esports, where RNG took us to a late game, took us to a team fight, and took out game number 1. Hello and welcome back to the LPL English. My name's TRtrebuC, Raz, Clement at the end of the desk. Let's start things off simply. Xiaohu got MVP, so well-deserved after the Vladimir engage in the mid lane.
What's the damage percentage?
Kick the boots off. Yeah. Lush. Rare to see with Xiaohu, because Uzi always has the numbers.
The damage gold efficiency one is the real one that scares me right there. Usually it's about 120% for mid laners. He did 60 extra % on that one. Even when started with gold, even in Flame Horizon, still doing the work.
What feels bad is that all of these are
Pro plays they're doing on the map. So I think like RNG in game 1, a lot of it does come down to the experience advantage that they had in the early game.
Yeah, in the previous play, just so you were talking about it, Corki was bot side already at the bottom
But
of
it
the
was
inner tower.
This one was
This was crazy, right? It feels bad. I think even without the Tahm Kench swallowing you, you die even with the redemption. It was really close timing and the health wouldn't have been enough. But it's just crazy how accelerated Xiaohu was this game. This is him going up against the Tahm Kench and getting obliterated.
His flanks have just been on point, and RNG really set up this Vladimir pick. If you remember in the second phase of the ban, they took away the Victor.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are they banning Victor? That is so far away in the
wonder.
meta. And that's your answer. They had that pick set up.
It was a great game 1 from RNG. We got to the late game. We got to a, what did I call it? A fickle situation, I think I put it as. But it was anything but. It was calm, cool, collected in the end, where it came down to a team.
Pretty clearly when they went up against King's Own in the MSI performance in the finals, it was based off these major team fights to claw themselves back into a game. Now this was much closer in terms of what the game was showing us, but Top Esports had windows, they lost it. RNG was able to find them. What does this say?
And Uzi made good use of that lead. 41% of the team's damage was done by him,
He hit
and
it
he
again.
was up 6.4K
Wow.
above Loken by the game's end, so equaling out all of those solo lane deficits.
Because remember, it was 3 Flame Horizons. It's rare that you ever see that in a game League of Legends. 2
rare
on
to
Top
see
Esports.
one.
Yeah, and 1 on the side of Uzi. So that bottom lane made to pay, even though Loken came fighting back in the end.
It's a tough call. I think what Top needs to do going into the next game, because a lot of the times when you face defeats like that, when you're having a very split push oriented team that doesn't really have too many ways of just instantly going in. The Sejuani's a good one, but to the point that you made earlier on was that, well, who's the next person going to be, right? Would it be the Aurelia in that case? But how confident are you to take that fight in that situation? They might end up going back to a more team fight focused composition, because throughout the split, they've had success in multiple facets. Through split push, through team fights, they might end up going and trying to challenge RNG based off team fights in game 2.
Because it looked pretty confident in the top lane, Clement, when we saw Top Esports trying to challenge them for the mark.
Yeah, Top Esports, for me, their team fight actually looked okay, but the composition deficit was definitely there in that situation. What I think they need to do is take away Xayah Rakan. It's been the best performing duo in recency for Ming and Uzi. Uzi's very safe on that champion, and Ming with initiation is just damn right scary. I would much rather see him on Enchantresses if I'm Top Esports. Morgana's not going to catch me out like that.
And one thing that we saw, as it seems like we're going into the second game pick ban, was that you can prolong those dives for a long time. Ben and Loken were getting dove for about like 20 flat seconds.
Yeah.
Even with the Tahm Kench Ezreal, you can't really do too much when Ming's being able to charm your Tahm Kench, and then Xayah just has so much added safety. If any added turret damage hits ahead, ultimate, de-aggro.
We'll be jumping back into Summoner's Rift, or at least pick and ban. RNG on blue side once again here, and we've got very similar bans across the board. Olaf not going over to Kasa. The Aatrox we talked about, again for Lungxing taken away. So it's rinse and repeat with first pick for RNG.
It's been the exact same bans for Top Esports, taking away the Olaf, knowing that that has not served them well. And for Top Esports, what they need to fix is the bot lane draft. Now, there's a lot of champions that Loken can go for. He's been known to play very aggressive with his Lucian and his Kalista, but against the likes of Uzi, we typically see him in a more defensive mode just between them.
Take a look at this hover. I mean, they could right now take away Xayah Rakan right from the get-go. So the conversation that we were having, they were facing a lot of pressure. Instead of looking for that Lucian counter pick and allowing RNG to even have a hand at that, I don't even think they want to pick the Rakan alone either. In fact, they're just going to take up the Xayah, force RNG to pick up a weak lane. That's an instant lock-in from the Ezreal.
Uzi's Ezreal.
Wow,
There you go,
okay.
Tom Kench. It's reverse lanes by the look of it, with Rakan still available. No-brainer for top esports, and we've flipped the script.
And this is very interesting because RNG has to carry from another lane in the early game. Which lane is that going to be?
Got
See,
2 more.
Here's the thing, I agree with you, but whenever it comes to Uzi's Ezreal, he just finds outright leads based off of not missing his cues. And Tom Kench has a lot of poke right there too, so the range advantage that you have, and then the ability to save yourself from the Rakan engage that you have in the bottom side of the map might just give the 2v2 advantage over to Uzi and Ming just based off of the execution alone. So that's something that perhaps RNG still play towards the bot side, have the opposite mindset of what the Ezreal provides for your team.
It's just really insane to think how entwined Uzi and Ezreal are as champions and players. He's been known to be a great Ezreal. Even when he was going up against Caitlyn matchups, he was still able to take CS leads when he first came out. Very well known for that champion. Now, top esports are going to have the counter pick here, so RNG, if they want a carry pick in another lane, they're going to have to do it blind.
The only thing that's remained the same are the junglers for RNG and top here.
Yeah, and so take a look at the bans. Exactly the same top esports going straight towards the Mordekaiser and Karma. The Karma is definitely going to be a good hit towards Xiaohu. So Xiaohu now needs to decide on his champion. I love his Syndra historically. I think he's always been such a great Syndra player that can really take advantage at the lane. Let's see what it ends up being.
Akali against Knight.
That's a Zoe match.
That's a Zoe.
What the hell are you looking at?
In the back of my mind, I'm like, there's 2 big champions for these guys.
Maybe when
Akali
she grows
and
up.
Zoe. All right.
Maybe when she grows
She's
up. She's
120 racks.
All right, fair enough.
But Zoe, you're right. Excuse me, big blunder. Xiaohu on Zoe is still a very big champion for him. You'll see the cannon paired nicely too.
So RNG are still looking to have pick potential in their composition, and going for Zoe does shore up that point. However, their team fight is much weaker with this composition. You don't see a lot of frontline capabilities, and this will give top esports a better chance when it comes to the 5v5.
There we go. I love the Aurelia pickup. I want to see where it ends up going. I would expect it to be going towards the mid lane. Vladimir also has a pretty positive matchup. I'd say around level 9 when he's able to get max rank on his Q and start trading against the Kennen. But that's the expectation that's going to be an AP Kennen rather than an AD Kennen. Interested to see what we're going to be coming out here from Longsing.
Yep, the Vladimir matchup definitely does swing based on the itemization from the Kennen. If he's going his own way, going the split push AD version, then yes, he will win out. But if he's going the AP, then Vladimir does have the sustain edge in that one. So we're going to see a very similar composition from top esports where they should have the solo lead in terms of the Vladimir versus the Kennen, but later on, team fights, I think this time the draft is much better for top esports.
Yes, so the big takeaway when we were talking about what their focus is going into game 2 was a
I don't know if
heavy
it's
focus
for the
on
record
team
books
fighting.
or what,
Because
but
in game
they
1,
certainly put
they were
on a
getting it
clinic.
going. I mean, a lot of times they looked at it and said that we
smashed.
just outright get outscaled in a lot of these facets. Even in front to back, the Vladimir was way too big. This time, Zoe's going to have a lot of problems when there are this many champions talking about the Sejuani who can try and get an ultimate when you're blinking straight back. The Aurelia, who's going to be a little bit insistent on trying to get you. There's a lot from top esports side that can now look for those team fights.
But I know for RNG fans, they'll see this and say, Xiaohu on a hard carry that can snowball a lead or completely fall off. The momentum is on him after game 1.
I gotta give the mid jungle over to top esports. I give the bot lane to top esports, and I actually think the top lane can win out as well. Top esports, for me, this is the exact draft that they're looking for.
Yep, but Hysterics, I know what you're thinking. Xiaohu and Zoe comes one-on-one. Like, at the end of the day, he's been able to perform so well in the champion, you got to believe that he can exceed.
And then Knight has Aurelia. The mid lane matchup we set up is there. It's exciting here in the semifinals. It's an RNG lead after game 1. You don't expect it to end here.
I don't know if it's for the record books or what, but they
top
certainly...
esports can take us to even footing.
But they certainly... One was definitely... I don't know if it's for the record books or what, but they certainly put on a clinic, did SKT. They smashed Griffin
Fans
into
come
the
out
ground.
here in Beijing.
Didn't even take 3 games
our
this
eyes
time
will
like
wander
they
over
did the
to
Sandbox and
XX
Zalmon.
in the rune choice
They just
straight
got it
away.
going right from game 1.
We
don't see Griffin stand up.
Sejuani was very prominent. We got the fleet footwork here on Summoner's Rift once again.
Yep, a lot of the times we ended up seeing fleet footwork come back when Trundle Jungle was definitely the go-to. In this case, just being able to, be pretty topped up throughout your jungle clear is the go-to. I think he's going to be trying to look for a lot of the 2v2s early on, wants to be able to have that even footing.
There's a lot of mind games happening in the runes this time around. A double minion dematerializers from the solo lanes on RNG and a vertical jungle start as well. So going back to your point of staying topped up, Xiongqiong really needs to be aware of his own life because RNG are already set up to leave lane and hunt that pig down.
After the nerfs to minion dematerializer, we saw teams just completely move away from that. So the fact that you're now looking through like those two lanes and that's now the go-to says a lot. Now Karsa can look towards topside a little bit more reliably.
Or even look mid as he just walks through. Knight with level 1, Xiaohu had the advantage, and it's just going to be the poke down with advantage now to RNG's mid. There's actually 0 CS on Knight, by the way, so we'll see when this wave crashes in.
I just want to see what Xiaohu picked up, because that's always my question in Zoe matchups. How well is the Aurelia going to do if it's a redemption early on? Triumph actually being the go-to here, and also a lot of tenacity going into the precision tree, so that's going to mean a lot going into later team fights. If he gets locked down by Zoe, so much easier for him to move out before the Q ends up striking him.
We're seeing a pretty defensive build from Xiao in terms of the summoners, bringing the exhaust, saying, you know what, I'm probably not going to need the ignite in this one. Just don't kill me. Please let me survive this superior mid-jungle duo coming in from top.
I love that you get a smite this early on as a Zoe mid. The shove continues on. I was just taking note of XX's pathing. He went back towards the Krugs in the top side and looking to kind of stop the momentum as Karsa goes for his double. Now triple buff available for the Jarvan.
So this is what I'm worried about here now for RNG, because Long Sing in this case is going to be pushing off the lane. And with Sejuani being on this side of the map, no vision in the area, they should be aware that that's a go-to gank for him. XX can set up topside, but that's a lot of damage on a
You
Loken.
weren't wrong about Uzi's Ezreal.
Yeah, it hurts. Ben tried to save him on that one, but it still hit Loken.
I love that we're in the reverse lane. We see Uzi and Ming play it out, and it's very different.
And I just wanted to say, that's not really supposed to happen. Usually you see the Xayah with the wave clear potential pushing out forward, but this time around, CS lead does go to Ezreal.
It's all about the jungle matchup here, and a lot of the times, Uzi and Ming can play like this when it's Karsa always near him, and that's the case. But guess who snuck behind them?
Wow, Xiongqiong using that path so well. He is unspotted here, but it's still going to be a 3v3.
Karsa has the level lead. Let's see. He goes in first. The flash forced out, and because of that, XX still behind the lane. Will he get engaged?
There's no way XX can come into this one now, because while you're right, I mean, XX was unspotted. Same for Karsa. You just have the expectations that Karsa is going to be in the area. Oh, wait a second, Xiaohu.
Yeah, he might be level 5. A flash away from the Arctic Assault. Didn't hit it anyway, but he wanted to be safe.
There we go. You're starting to see some great action coming in from...
Just their bread and butter play. They freeze the bot lane wave. They force the Xayah to walk
off of that. And now, you're right, at least they were able to get a flash on both mid and top side. XX can look towards the top lane later on.
We'll see what happens, though, because Xiaohu is in the vicinity. We'll just drop a ward instead of making a commitment to the top side of the map.
And we're going to see top esports really try to focus back onto that top side. For their bottom, as long as they can have the wave pushing into themselves, I think they're going to be fine. Even with the Xayah Recon, I don't see them trying to push CS advantages that hard, or they're probably not able to. So top esports right now, you know, it's a very clear go-ahead on the top side, and Karsa's going to take advantage of that.
Infernal first here for RNG. Now XX is moving down, but Xiaohu having the shove into lane will be able to push him off.
And that's the weakness for a team that is so focused on solo lane advantages, is the Dragon pickup for teams that are bot side centric. Let's see if XX can do anything about it.
Knight is level 6, by the way, has the Vanguard's Edge available. Xiaohu's in a lot of trouble. There's the Permafrost. The Force Duet won't land, and XX not near the Dragon as the ult finally comes out. Ming in control as Karsa survives. The smite comes through and the TP to secure.
That's the issue. RNG is always going to commit to the play, while top are not going to commit the members necessary for the fight. So at the end of the day, RNG has gotten the first Dragon. You're certainly going to be seeing them play for the second Dragon. It's in Mountain, and top esports are already in a bad place in Game 2.
At the very least, Knight, once again, Clement, has a CS lead. It's starting to build with one of the solo lanes for top.
Yeah, that definitely seemed like a trust fall coming in from Xiaohu. No flash, but still able to walk through River against the Sejuani and still find the Devour there. And that just really goes to show you what RNG is all about. A lot of times...
Oh my god.
A lot of times they're about this as well. Just chunking people down in lane. The synergy has always been a plus on their side.
It's the reason why he's gone for the Sheen first. A lot of them end up doing that for the lane strength. But take a look at this. We were already concerned about Xiaohu not having flash. And now is the prime target. Let's see if he can thin out the wave.
Not spotted out. The Glacial Prison not available, but flash with Arctic Assault. Here comes 369, but they're not going to overcommit. They want the turret plating instead.
All right. Remember, he has double exhaust, by the way. Just, you know, Zoe things. You can exhaust 2 members. That's fine.
But you call that a mechanic?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Lucky mechanic at that.
But is able to keep him safe. And so Xiaohu in this situation is now safe. As himself Magic Pen boots just right from the get-go. Extra movement speed to get him away from those situations. And now we're back at step 1. Uzi and Ming are pummeling the bot side tower, and the members underneath it have themselves an advantage to do it to it.
And Lung Ching's having a great time on the top side. Meanwhile, he's poking down to Vladimir, who made the roam, who is now losing out on CS and turret plating. RNG through these cross-map plays have a 2K gold lead at 8 minutes in the game.
369 is so far behind the buy. The champion itself is fine, but he doesn't have the items to back up. And what I wanted to say the biggest advantage for RNG is actually the jungler. He's already up 3 camps onto Karsa. This is going to allow him to just make ganks without fear of being counter-ganked because he's so damn tanky.
Ooh. Using his ultimate there just to keep topped up, but at least he should be actually... This is actually a pretty large one. The next wave's going to be coming in, so he's going to be losing 2 waves if he ends up basing off this one. So it's a lot happening for Vladimir in the top side of the map, where now both side lane matchups for RNG are miles ahead. Especially, not even just talking about the CS advantage, but amount of auto attacks he's been able to get through, really piling up the Klepto procs.
You can see 369 backs away anyway. The wave going to be crashing in. XX is towards the top side of the map right now, so RNG can keep pushing bottom while Karsa and Xiaohu are making a move.
This is a great move because there's no teleports on top esports. No help is on the way, and the 4v2 is coming.
It's happening again, but Xiaohu is not making the full commitment, rotating back around to the mid lane while they don't need to. RNG is still pushing it.
At this state, RNG just needs to keep, you know, these lanes as if they are, like bubbles, where Uzi and Ming are creating natural leads. The same can be said for Long Xing, and you just try and keep Xiaohu available and, of course, just alive. I mean, there's a lot of people gunning for his head. But at this state, it's top esports that are slowly bleeding out. They still have a great composition to look for that one fight.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's getting further and further away. They need to fight for the next dragon. I feel like if RNG finds themselves the mountain dragon, especially with how creative they are as a team, it's going to be too far gone.
That's 1.1 gold lead, 1.1k gold lead on the Ezreal already just from the early ganks. The CS might not look that different, but Kleptomancy and the assists and the turret platings are starting to add up. And once again, the Zai is actually supposed to win out with the push in this matchup. The clean cuts is going to go through the entire minion wave, but somehow Uzi, just with his poke through the minions, has been able to reverse it.
You can see top esports getting deeper vision.
I don't know if it's for the record books or what, but they certainly put on a clinic, did SKT.
But now the push will continue. RNG will
into the
continue.
ground.
Didn't even take
winning out. 3 games this
and that
time,
mountain
like
is a minute away. So top are committing.
This is what we're waiting for.
They just got it going
nice
right from game 1.
Pings out
We don't
here
see
too, so
Griffin
RNG
stand up in
recognizes
game
that this
number
is
2. I
available.
think the speed
And
run
it's
from
the
Beyond
one
in some ways, the
underappreciated point
3-0.
about RNG's playstyle, because they get jungle attention so frequently that you forget what they look like when they are on the weak side of the map. Uzi and Ming instantly fall back. They already had the wave shoved up there, so they realized that they can just back away. They already had a decent enough advantage. They don't need to lose it all to a play from Knight and XX.
And once again, top esports walk towards Rift Herald a little bit late. No vision. Karsa's going to get this right now, and we'll see if it gets dropped in the top side once again.
I call that play don't BS a BSer, because RNG definitely know that trick very, very well. They react to it perfectly. Even though there wasn't vision, they could sense the 4v2 coming to save that bot lane, and perfect response, they take the Herald.